How many of you have ever gone back to thinking TS time, it'll be different? Be honest. Raise your hand. Yeah, I see you. I feel you. Today we're going to shatter that cycle. Told you 10 reasons why you must never back them. One pause, slow, intense voice. Because sometimes healing doesn't begin with forgiveness. Sorth, affirm, heal, NO. We want to believe in change. We crave it, especially when it means we don't have to let go of someone we once loved. The mind plays tricks, doesn't it? You remember those soft moments. The appalling tears, the way they looked at you like they couldn't live without you. And when they come back, whispering words soaked in regret, it's easy to think, maybe this time bears the truth that's hard to swallow. People don't change because they say they have. They don't change because they miss you. Maybe they don't change because they've been given another chance. Most of the time, they just get better at masking the same behavior in the first place. Think about it in your own life. Have you ever loaned money to someone who died paid bait, and then they asked again the second time they promised? They swore they'd repay you. They even gave you a date. And because you're a kind person, you hand them that money again. And guess what happened? Same story, different excuse. No repayment. Why? Because nothing changed except the straighter they wanted. The same rule applies in relationships. Let's say someone cheated on you, lied to you, manipulated you, gaslit you, made you feel small just so they come crawling back. They're often not transformed. They're just rehearsed. They know what to say now. They know what you want to hear. They, like a con artist studies a mark. They've memorized the script that makes you melt. But real change, real transformation, that takes time. That takes deep takes, mourning your darkness, sitting in it, and doing the inner work without any guarantee of getting someone back. It doesn't happen over a weekend. It doesn't happen in no contact. It doesn't happen because they miss your body, your warmth, or your loyalty. Most of the time, they miss your access, not your soul. Clever world example. Have you ever worked with a coworker who was toxic? Someone who slacked off, took credit for your work, stirred up drama, or made the office or Olsman. Then one day they get written up or called out by managers. Suddenly they're different. Polite. Quiet. Professional. Few weeks, everything seems like it's changing. But guy time, sooner or later that same attitude creeps back. They start gossiping again, complaining. Cutting corners because fear made them behave, not change. They just adapted temporarily because there were consequences. People like that don't grow. They adjust until they feel safe again, and then the mask slips out. Bring it back to your personal life. How many times have you taken someone back because they promised they'd change? And how many times did they eventually rebuild patterns? How many times do you have that same fight over and over? How many times did they apologize, cry, swear they do better? Not because they are evil, not because they didn't care. But the change is a choice, and most people don't choose it. They choose comfort. They choose familiarity, the easy road of pretending. And here's the kicker. You keep getting hurt not because they're powerful, and you keep hoping they'll become someone they're not. You see what they could be, the potential. And that's what destroys you, because you version of them that doesn't exist consistently. You fall in love with their highlight reel, not the full footage. Relationships are not built on moment, on consistent character. And if someone only shines when they're losing you, then they're not a light. So stop confusing regret with growth. Regret is a feeling. Growth is a discipline. Just because someone regrets hurting you doesn't earn the right to love you again. Regret is a doorway. They still have to walk through it. Prove they've changed, even when no one's watching. And very few are incapable of change. But I am saying that most don't. Not really. And you can't keep gambling your head on this time they mean it. Because every time you go back, you're making a down payment on disappointment. Start observing actions, not words, not worses. And remember, real change speaks quietly but consistently. It doesn't need to scream, beg for trust. It earns it day by day. So if they knock on your emotional door asking for one more shot, look at their track record, not their tears. Look at patterns. Maybe that was your graphs, if not paragraphs. Because if all that's your behavior, then what you're getting isn't growth. It's just manipulation and a better outfit. Never forget, people don't change to forgive them. They change when they're willing to lose you forever in order to become better human beings. Maybe, and most aren't ready for that. Let them miss you. but never take them back because they've learned to speak the language of remorse. Maybe because the realest of change is nothing to gain. Left to gain. And if they haven't shown you that, they haven't changed. They've just gotten better hiding it. There's a harsh truth that many people, it's the truth that sets you free once you accept it. If they broke you once, they'll break you again. And not because you're weak, because the first time someone crosses the line and gets forgiven without consequence, it teaches them something dangerous. They learn that hurt is available even after destruction. Let's talk about real life. Imagine you have a favorite glass. It's beautiful, handcrafted, something you cherish. One day, someone picks up carelessly and drops it. It shatters, you're devastated. But instead of walking away, they say, "I'm sorry." And because you love that person holding it, you try to fix it. You glue it, tape it, piece it back together. It's fragile now, but you tell yourself, it's okay. It's still a day, they pick it up again. This time they're just as careless, and it breaks. You fix it again. They apologize again, and so the cycle of someone breaks something once, it could be an accident. But if they do it again, it's not carelessness, it's character. Hand of them the pieces of your soul to break over and over. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. So many people live in this cycle. And emotionally taping shattered glass and calling it love. They get betrayed, lead to cheated on, disrespected, and when the same person with face and a bouquet of promises, they open the door again. Why? Because hope is blinding. Because the mind clings to the good parts of the narrative to want connection more than truth. And that's what gets us hurt. But let me tell you something powerful. Patterns don't lie. If someone is someone they're capable of, if they've shown you their capacity to damage, to disregard your boundaries, to hurt you in a way that changed you, hand them the tools to do it again. Think of it like this. You wouldn't hire a babysitter who let your first time. You wouldn't go back to a mechanic who destroyed your engine. Maybe that was your rest story. Why do we give our hearts back to people who broke them once? Like maybe this time they'll treat it differently. Because in Cloud's logic, it's emotion chances, and while second chances can work in certain areas of life, love is not a charity. Your heart is not a rehabilitation center. You're ever fixing someone who chose to break you. And make no mistake, they chose, maybe not consciously. Maybe they didn't wake up and think, who loves me? But they still made decisions, and those decisions caused damage. Intent doesn't erase impact. Think about how many times you didn't want to lose them. Even after they already lost you moment, they betrayed your trust. You confused the fear of being alone with their irreplaceable. But listen closely. Someone who has already broken your hearts has shown you the blueprint of who they are under pressure. And unless they've gone through true takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, they will fall back into the same behavior. It's not pessimism. It's probability. It's humans, not hope. And if someone hurt you once and saw no real consequence, or worse, got welcomed back with open arms, then it has already been crossed. They know you'll redraw it again for them. And again, that's how toxic cycles are born. So stop thinking through the exceptions. Stop thinking this time will be different because they say they've changed. Ask yourself, what has changed in them that would prevent this again? And if your answer is, well, they said they're sorry. That's not enough. Saying sorry is easy. Not repeating the behavior is hard. They know where your wounds are. They know the exact words that unravel you. They know how to gain your trust. Maybe they know how to misuse it. And that's people who've already broken. You don't need a map to do again. They know the shortcuts. So protect yourself. Love yourself enough to learn from is a powerful teacher, but only if you listen. If someone has already proven their willingness or ability to hurt you, you don't owe them another opportunity to forgive them, yes, for your own peace, but access, that's earned. And once trust is broken, it doesn't regenerate with time alone, and repeat action, consistency, and accountability. Most people skip all three. Here's the bottom line. You are not weak for loving someone. You are weak for what you tolerate. You are responsible for the doors you leave open. You are responsible for who you let ban the place. So the next time you're tempted to go back to someone who broke you, ask yourself, maybe do I want to relive this story? Because chances are they'll break you again. And this time you won't be able to say you didn't see it coming. You deserve better. Believe that. And and hand the hammer back to the one who already broke you once. Maybe that's being honest in a world where mixing the norm. Consistency is the new currency of love. We've been conditioned to romanticize unpredictability. We call it passion. When someone then ghosts us for 3 days, we call it mystery. When someone keeps us guessing whether they're in or out, hot or cold, committed or just passing time, and straight confusion is not love. It's emotional manipulation dressed up as excitement. You don't need someone who keeps you staying. You need someone who shows up fully, openly, and consistently. Love is not a puzzle. You shouldn't have to decode texts, reconsult friends like they're FBI profilers just to understand what someone feels about you. If they care, you'll know. If they don't, you'll be confused. Let's look at a daily life example. I imagine you start a new job. On the first day, your manager is welcoming, encouraging with praise, you feel thoughtful. But then the next day, they ignore you, no feedback, you feel invisible. Then on Friday, they give you a bonus and tell you your OCUs, right? You start second guessing everything. Am I doing well or not? Are they happy with me? Should I stay or leave? That kind of imposed anxiety. Burnout? Now take that same logic and apply it to relationships. Emotional inconsistency is like trying to buy out. 1 minute you feel secure, the next the floor drops out beneath you. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to lose yourself. Your confidence evaporates. You become addicted to crumbs because they sometimes look like cake. You begin to live in the highs, wait those rare moments when they're loving and kind, but then the lows hit and you crash. You feel needy, insecure, desperate for reassurance, and the psychopathy then come close, push you out, then pull you back, and every time they return, maybe they train you to accept their here's the truth and love should not feel like a guessing game. It should feel like home. You deserve the kind of love that texts you up when they say they will. That makes you feel seen, not strategic. That doesn't punish you with silence or reward you with just enough attention. See, isn't boring, it's safety. And safety is the foundation of any real connection. Let me give you another real world story. Over your favorite restaurant, you go there because you know what to expect. The food is good, the service is great, and you feel welcome every time. Now I Make Your Day food was amazing, and the next it made you sick. One day the staff was friendly, the next they ignored you or made you feel going back. No, you'd stop. Not because it was always bad, but because you can't trust what you'll get. That lack of consistency ruins experiencing. And do we stay in relationships where we're constantly unsure of what version we're going to get? The answer. Because we hope the good version is the real. We justify the rest. We say things like, but when it's good, maybe it's really good and maybe it is. But it's ways. And the rest is emotional chaos. It's not love. It's dysfunction. Consistency is not a luxury. It's the bare minimum. A person who is true will not leave you in limbo. They won't go silent when you need clarity. Maybe they won't leave your messages on, read your messages on. They won't be amazing one day and cruel the next. They won't use confusion to maintain control. Maybe because here's something you need that consistently aren't perfect. They won't always get it right, but they will always try. You'll see effort. You'll feel present, experience steadiness instead of emotional whiplash. And once you experience that kind of consistency, you'll realize how much damage inconsistencies caused. You'll look back and see how much time you spent trying to earn love that should have been freely given. You'll remember all the nights the mornings you woke up with anxiety instead of joy. And you'll promise yourself never again. You deserve a relationship where love, affection doesn't come with conditions, where communication doesn't disappear when things get real. You deserve the kind of love that doesn't your worth every other day, because real love is predictable in the best way. It's a steady rhythm in a chaotic world. It doesn't come with drama and cliffhangers. It doesn't make you feel like you're control of a worthy partner. So if someone is making you feel confused, unsure, or emotionally dizzy, take that as a sign. Not that you aren't trying at all. Let confusion be your red flag. Let inconsistency be your exit. And let love, real, steady, soul-nourishing love, be the story that only the emotionally can reach it, because you deserve consistency, not confusion. Every damn time. Maybe that was your old story. Let's face it, letting some go you still might love feels like ripping out a part of your own soul. Maybe that was your old story. It's the kind of pain that doesn't settles deep in your bones. It's in your chest at night when you're lying in bed staring at the ceiling. It's in your stomach when a song comes on in. It's in your throat when you almost text them, then stop yourself. Letting go hurts, no question. But here's the truth that changes ever mean it's temporary. Temporary doesn't mean it's painless. It means it will pass if you let it. Now, let's be real. The pain of letting go can feel like go in, especially when it's fresh. Especially when they were part of your daily morning, good morning, and your good night, especially when they were your comfort, even if they're also your chaos. You might feel like using a part lose your life is unraveling memory at a time. That's normal. It's grief. You're not just grieving a person. Your Gray imagined a version of life that never fully happened. But here's what people don't talk about enough. Maybe the pain of holding on to the wrong person. Think about it. When you hold on to someone value you, who doesn't respect you, who treats your heart like an option instrument, you're living in a state of constant erosion. Your self-worth fades slowly. Your energy drains. You become a shell of who you used to be. Less, sleep worse. Trust yourself less. That pain may not feel sharp like the pain of letting go, but it's constant. It lingers. It weakens you over time. It rinds you off a bandage. It stings like hell at first, but then healing begins. You get stronger. You start remembering who you were before your before self. You start creating space for peace, for real joy, for people who actually pour into your draining. Let me give you a daily life example. Imagine you've been carrying a heavy bag of bricks for days. You're exhausted. Your back hurts. But you've convinced yourself, I can't drop this. I need it. Then finally, someone says, just try setting it down for a minute. Weight has become your normal. But eventually you let go. And suddenly you can breathe. Your arms feel light. Your body starts to recover. That review happens when you finally let go of someone who was too heavy for your soul. The mind plays tricks during the healing phase. It'll remind you the good time wasn't so bad. It'll replay every smile, every soft moment, every kiss under the stars. But that's just nostalgia. And nostalgia to the tears. The nights you waited for a reply that never came. Maybe the times you begged for honesty memory with rose-colored filters. And if you listen to it too long, you'll go right back into the pain you were in. The pain of letting go is your body detoxing from emotional dependency. It's your heart going through was laid with confusion. But like any detox, the discomfort is part of the cleans. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're purging what was clear. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving them instantly. It means you start loving yourself more. More than the false hope. More than the temper, than the apologies that always came too late. More than the dreams that were always just words, never action. Maybe that was you owe it to yourself to endure that so you can experience the permanent peace that follows. You owe it to your future self. The one who will wake up someday, smile, and wonder why you ever settle for love. That version of you is waiting on the other side of this pain. But you can't reach them if you keep clinging that no longer fits who you're becoming. One day soon, the pain will fade. You'll hear their name and feel nothing. Past their favorite song, you'll see couples holding hands and feel happy, not jealous. One day, you'll realize that the pain was just a bride, but that day only comes if you make the decision to walk away, to delete the number, to stop checking their status, to stop reading their scripture, to choose discomfort now for more peace later. Because the pain of letting go is temporary. But the pain of staying stuck in a place you'll last forever. So choose the temporary. Choose the tear-filled nights. Choose the shaky first steps. Choose the healing. Choose you. Because of the freedom. And baby, freedom is always worth it. There comes a point in life where you weigh out of anger, bitterness, or pride. You're walking away out of respect for yourself, for your peace, for your future. Because staying in a place where you're heard or not loved the way you deserve, that's the real betrayal. Self-respect is the line in the sand. Maybe it's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's me, a quite steady voice inside that says, this isn't it. I deserve more than this. That voice, your self-worth, has been whispering to you for a while. The question isn't, have you been listening? Let's bring this into real life. You're at a restaurant. You've ordered your food. You're excited. You're hungry. And you're ready to eat. But the food never comes. You wait and an hour passes. 2, maybe even more. You see other people getting served. Some who came after you already have dessert. You try to justify it. Maybe the kitchen butt forgot. Maybe your order is complicated. But at some point you look around and realize, I don't deserve to be treated like this. Up, leave, and find another place to eat. Not because you're rude. Not because you don't have patience. Because you have respect for your time and your basic dignity. That's what self-respect looks like in relationships. You've been sitting at a table waiting to respect, commitment, consistency. And all you've gotten are excuses, delays, broken promises, maybe the half-hearted effort. You've convinced harder, to try harder, to explain yourself better. But the truth is, when someone truly wants to meet your needs, they won't need repeated reminders, but your energy. They'll love you with clarity, not confusion. But too many people stay because but let me be crystal clear, walking away isn't losing, choosing you. It's saying, I won't keep shrinking myself to fit a capacity to love. It's saying, I deserve a love that doesn't require me to beg, chase. You see, love should be mutual. Not a performance, not a project, not a never-ending audition where you'd be enough. If someone makes you feel like you're too much for wanting clarity, honesty, consistency, or emotional presence, then you're serious things from the wrong person. And walking away from that wrong person. Not selfish, that's sacred. Think of a plant. When it doesn't grow in a certain spot, you don't scream at the plant, you move it. You find a new pot, new soil, better sunlight. And that's not giving up on the plant, it's giving it. That's what walking away does for you. It moves you out of survival mode and into growth. It moves you away from tolerating, and here's the truth most people will want, avoiding walking away hurts. It's uncomfortable. It's scary, because it means you're stepping into something that once felt familiar, even if it was toxic. And that's terrifying. But it's also powerful, because every step away from someone right is a step towards someone who can. And that someone might not be another partner right away. That someone might be you, the version of been better, laughing more, creating again, feeling free. That version of you has been waiting, being you were too afraid to close. But now is the time to close it with grace. Close it with grace. Finality, with strength. Not because they were evil, but they're going to abandon yourself and they to love anymore. There's a moment when you realize that we're access to you. Not everyone gets to have your loyalty, your energy, heart. And you don't have to make a scene, reclaim your work. Sometimes you just need to stand up quietly, gather your dignity, and walk out of the room. They kept you emming. The real glow up doesn't happen when you find someone new. It happens when you find your way back to yourself. It happens when you stop settling for explaining your standards to people who refuse to rise to them. When you stop compromising with your temporary presence. So if you're sitting there right now wondering whether it's time to walk away, let this be your sign. You've waited hard enough. You've cried more than enough. And now it's time to respect yourself at once, to stop trying to build a home in someone who only offered you a couch. You are not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong person. And walk toward what empowers you. And if nothing else, remember this, walking away isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's self-love. It's strength. You're getting everything you truly deserve. Let's be real, somewhere along the way, we wear than that. If love doesn't hurt, it isn't real. That love should be this dramatic, chaotic roller coaster, full of breakups and teary apologies, jealousy, mind games, and endless sacrifice. We started calling dysfunction, passion, emotional exhaustion, commitment. But that's not love. That's war. And love shouldn't feel like a battlefield. If every day feels like you're fighting to be heard, negotiating your worth, walking emotional lambings just arguing. That's not love, that's survival. You don't fall in love just to fight life every single day. You don't enter a relationship to lose your peace, your identity, your sanity. Let's bring it down to a real life example from work. You're exhausted. All you want is to step into your home and breathe. But instead, every day, you're grated with tension, accusations. You walk in and instantly feel like you have to defend yourself, explain yourself, or justify every move. Maybe that was your recharging. Yearning for beta has become a war zone, has psychological warfare with a pretty name. The truth is, love should be your safe space, not be the one place where you can take off your armor and still feel protected. If you're constantly anticipating, if your nervous system is always on edge, if you feel like you're always trying to fix things, prove your love, or win back peace, doesn't have to be meaningful. But we've been brainwashed by movies, books, and even music to think otherwise. How no songs that glorify toxic patterns. I can't live without you. You're the air I breathe. We fight hard. That's not love harder. You weren't put on this earth to fight your way into love. You were born worthy of it just as you are. You deserve a love where peace is the base. After chaos, here's another daily life comparison. Picture a job where you're constantly being criticized, overworked, and underappreciated. Some days you're met with silence, frustration, or unrealistic expectations. How long would you stay in that job? Probably not long, because you know your workplace, you know you deserve respect, healthy boundaries, and fair treatment. So why is it when it comes to relationships, we lower that bar so drastically? Love when we'd never accept it anywhere else because we confuse intensity with intimacy. But true intimacy isn't intense. It's secure. It doesn't spike, monitor, flows. It builds over time through mutual understanding, kindness, and trust, not through fear. Silence, and fights that leave you emotion. You don't need someone who only acts right after a blow up. You don't need someone who apologizes was back to war mode the next week. You need someone who doesn't put you to recover from the very person who's supposed to love you. Let that sink in. If someone creates the wounds and then treat you, you're in a cycle of abuse, not affection. If someone brings the storm and then calls themselves your shelter, that's manipulation, not love. Healthy nuclear purity, it disagrees without disrespect. It listens. It adapts. It apologizes without being forced. And most importantly, it doesn't need to battle just to be loved. Yes, some problems. But there's a big difference between problems and pains. A problem is something you work through. A pattern is something you repeat. And if your relationship has become a constant loop apologizing, then do it all over again. You're not in love. You're stuck in an emotional box, nor you deserve someone who makes life feel lighter, not heavier. Someone who brings calm, not chaos. Someone who makes you feel safe, love you, and backs it up with emotional consistency, not explosions. The greatest relationships aren't built on teamwork. You should feel like you're on the same side, not fighting opposite corners of the ring. You should be building a future, not battling for a past. You should be lifting each other. Maybe that was stored, not tearing each other down and cowling, and currently in a relationship that feels like a war zone. Take a moment and ask yourself, when did love become a battle that had to hurt like this to be real? Then look in the mirror and remind yourself of this. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not amounts. You are allowed to want a love that feels like home, not like combat. So if it's always a fight, if you're holding just to hold on to something that keeps cutting you, let it go. Because love shouldn't feel like a battlefield. Love should feel like peace. And peace. That's the most beautiful, powerful kind of love there is. We often convince ourselves that because someone we're obligated to share a future with them too. Romanticize the history, the inside jokes, the late night talks, the trips, the memo ourselves. We've come this far. We can't just walk away now. But let's be powerful and liberating. History doesn't equal destiny. Maybe. Just because someone has been part of you, they deserve to be in your next chapter. We cling to the past like it's a lifeline, even when it's what's pulling us and blind ourselves to what is. We remember how they used to be and ignore how they're treating us now. We play highlight reels in our heads, convinced that things can go back to the way they were. We just try a little louder. Forgive one more time. Maybe here's the thing memory is not reading, is we're in love with the person, not the person they become. Take a real life example. Imagine a book you loved, read you year for comfort, excitement. You connected deeply with it. But now, every time you pick it up, it doesn't hit the same. You've changed, grown. The words are gone. Do you keep forcing yourself to read the same pages, hoping the magic will return? Or do you close the book and make space for something speaks to who you are now? Relationships work the same way. You're allowed to outgrow someone. You're allowed to admit that what once worried You're allowed to move on without needing a villain in the story. Sometimes it's not about betrayal. It's about realizing that what used to fit no longer feels right. And that's reason enough. But we stay. Maybe because they've been there for me so much. Because nobody else knows me like they do. And all of that might be true. They were part of your evolution. Important seasons. But not everyone who helped you grow is meant to grow with you. Some people were just scaffolding. You have to support your rise. And when the building is strong enough to stand on its own, the scaffolding comes down. Don't confuse shared time with shared share. Prove loyalty and time invested should never outweigh self-respect. Maybe you could spend 10 years with someone you've known for 10 days who treats you, hears you, and shows up for you. Time means nothing if the connection's side or one-sided. And let's be brutally honest, sometimes we hold on to history because we're scared. Scared of starting over, scared of being known. We tell ourselves, I've already put so much into this. I can't start again. But what's the card joy? Your identity. You're not meant to live in the shadows of who you were 5 years ago or 5 months ago. You're meant to keep Vone, refuses to grow with you, or worse, tries to keep you small. To stay co of shared memories should be enough to justify their place in your future. Think of your life like a road trip. Some people are meant to ride with Use Your Oar song, share some laughs, maybe teach you a lesson or two, but eventually they reach their stop. And when they do, maybe have the old story. You let them off. Not, but because their journey isn't the same as yours anymore. Maybe happens when you keep someone who no longer wants the same destination. You start taking detours. You miss exits. You waste fuel trying to convince the non-arrival. That's what holding on to history does. It holds you back. You deserve someone who matches your present, not just someone who remembers your poem, not just someone who once did, someone who builds with you, not just someone who reminisces with you. Because no matter how beautiful your pace wisely anymore, if it's filled with cycles of pain, unmet needs, or emotional stagnation, it's time to start raptors and start writing new ones. It's okay to cherish the memories. Okay to honor the history. Don't sacrifice your destiny. The destiny for a goat doesn't mean those years were wasted. It means you finally realize you're important than your familiarity. That your growth matters more than your comfort. That your heart deserves more than being sorry. So if you're struggling to leave someone just because of how long they've been in your life, ask yourself this. Would I choose them today? Knowing everything, if the answer is no, then you know what to do. Because history is meant to teach you, not trap you. And your destiny, it's waiting for you to stop looking back. We all want answers. We all crave that honest explanation, that moment where everything makes sense and the pain clicks into place like the last puzzle piece. We want them to say why they left the way they did, the hurt they did. We want that one text, that one call, that one apology that wraps it all up with a pro so we can walk away with peace. But here's the truth that's hard to swallow but powerful to understand. Closure is not something they give you yourself. We wait for it like it's oxygen. We think, if they just explain what went wrong, I could finally move on. But most explanation never comes, or worse, it comes in the form of more lies, more confusion, or more manipulation that reopens every opening starting to heal. Because the kind of person who left you broken is rarely the one equipped to help you heal. Closure is not about the other person apology you think you deserve. It's not about them suddenly realizing they were wrong and giving you validation. It's about you standing in the middle pin. Even if I never get the answer, I'm still choosing to move forward. It's about your healing, isn't their responsibility. It's yours. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're waiting at a train station to arrive hours ago. You've been pacing, asking the attendants, checking the signs, making excuses. Maybe there was a delay. Maybe it got route, but that's stumpoming. But at some point it becomes clear that train is not showing up. You have two choices. Maybe you can sit there another day, another Lynn Place, stuck in hoping for a train that's not coming. Or you can stand up, dust yourself off, and start walking in your own direction, blazing that waiting for someone to do right by you to explain themselves. To suddenly become who you needed. I'm not giving away your power. And let's be honest, you've already given him enough. You gave him your time, your energy, your trust, your love. Don't get even two. Don't hand over your future in exchange for one last conversation that might never come. Because you might sit across from them, they might shrug, or lie, or say something that hurts even more. Then what? Closure is you walking away even when you're still breaking. It's you choosing yourself even when the memories still haunt you. It's the decision to stop replaying the start, writing a new story where you are the main character. Not the victim, not the sidekick, the one waiting to be chosen. Here, closure. Yeah, because they don't want you to heal. They want to leave the door slightly open. They want to keep you emotionally. They could know when they come back if they ever got bored, lonely, or curious again. They breadcrumb you with maybe someday, or you deserve better, but I'm not ready. And that little spark of hope keeps you stuck. Closure means slamming that door, no, with revenge, with peace, with self-respect, with clarity. It's saying, you don't have to give me a reason. I'm no longer making your lack of effort. My quirk can look writing a letter and never sending it. It can look like deleting the text, blocking the number, unfollowing quietly. It can look like crier one last time and then getting up with a fire in your chest that says, this will not define me. It can look like him signing up for therapy, hitting the gym, business, changing your routine, not to distract yourself, to reclaim yourself. One of the most beautiful things you'll ever do is forgive someone who never gave you the apology. Not for them, but for you. Because forgiveness is not saying what did was okay. It's saying you're not willing to carry the weight of it anymore. Let's take a real life example. Think of a house that burned down. You could sift through the ashes, trying to find pieces of what was. You might even find something. An old photo, a burnt book, a trinket that survived the fire, but we're reliving the loss, breathing in smoke, keeping yourself surrounded by rubble. Closure is when you finally say, there's nothing left here for me. You okay? And this time with stronger walls, better materials, and a deeper knowledge of how to protect your peace. Closure is an internal choice. A declaration, a devil promise to yourself that you are done looking back. That you are not going to wait for someone to journey. That the version of you who stayed too long, cried too hard, gave too much, that version is no R. So stop searching for the perfect goodbye, the perfect explanation, the perfect ending. That's not closure. Closure is when you stop needing them because you realize you've had the key all along.